Morning, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of AM Minnesota. I've really been looking forward to today's program because Minnesota State Academy for the Blind has been such a key piece of faribault's history, and we're going to get a little bit of a history lesson of MSAB and how they got their start. They're celebrating their sesquicentennial this year. They're 150 years young. I say that because having been in Europe a few times, 150 years is nothing compared to some of the things they have over there. They have a special program next week. We've got a couple of guests in studio. A teacher from the Minnesota State Academy for the Blind, Jennifer Pelletier. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And you want to introduce our special guest student, or
Sure.
should I?
We also have Brittany Ehrenholtz here, who is a student at MSAB.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Yeah.
No problem. And you are from Bloomington.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been at the State Academy for the Blind?
I've been there for this. I gotta think now. This is my 5th year, I think.
Do you like the school? And forget that there's a teacher sitting there.
Yeah, say nice things.
Don't worry. I'm friendly with everybody, so we're good. I mean, I actually went there for their summer school program ever since I was 9, and then I went there. I mainstreamed from kindergarten until my freshman year, and then I came my sophomore year. So I got used to the school, like, during the summer program, so I kind of knew my way around, but then there were some classrooms where I'm just like, where do I go? I'm lost, help me. And then over time, you know, it just got easier, and now I know my way around the school fairly well. Better than my old school, I can tell you that.
Okay, now you said you were mainstream, so you were in one of the Bloomington schools.
Yes.
It's kind of neat that you've had that experience plus MSAB.
Mm-hmm.
Should everybody be mainstream and then go to MSAB, or what do you think?
I feel like it depends on, like, your education or, like, your academics and your social stuff, because when I went mainstreaming, I was great up until my freshman year, and then things just went downhill, like with a lot of the social things and the fact that, you know, I was technically the only, like, blind student at my school, so I was just really socially, like, awkward and socially isolated because everybody around me could see. And I've met other visually impaired people ever since I was little, but they weren't around me much because they were either too far away or I only met them like once or twice a year. So I'm just like, you know, I want to go down here. And then another key reason is that I wanted to become more independent because I felt like I wasn't gaining the right skills to be more independent. So I came down here, and then I started out very, like weak on that side, and then over the years I've improved. And last year I was in our on-campus apartment for about a month, and it gave me the confidence to be as independent as I can be. And I was with a roommate, so I wasn't alone except for like the last 2 nights. And then this year I'll be going back in with somebody. I don't know when or who or what yet. So, and then we also have a A+ house on campus, so if you're more independent that way, then you would be able to go there, but I'm not at that step yet. I'm only in the apartment step.
So that's a good program then.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's a very good program.
Yes.
Teaching those independent skills, like cooking, cleaning,
laundry, what else?
All the things we love to do.
Yes. And it's preparing us for the outside world, so hopefully after I leave, I graduated high school from there, but because I came for the extra years that I have, because you can go until you're 21, so after this year I haven't decided on what I want to do yet, because I will be going over to South Central in the spring to take a college class, and I don't know what yet.
Wow, that's cool. I gotta take a break here, and then we're gonna come back, Brittany, okay?
All right, awesome.
I knew we'd be fine with Brittany. She's a great talker. And also Jennifer, who's a musical therapist, which I find very interesting. We're gonna talk a bit about that and about next week's special program, which all of us...
Sounds cool. We can be musical too.
Yes, that works.
December lives of 42 at 104.92, and February's 5 higher at 105.55. November feeders are up 25 at 125.45. And hogs today are higher.
So
following
South
yesterday's
Central's got a
sharply
program
higher
for you.
report.
That's good.
Yeah, the only downside though was
48.2
that
and
they
February's
like the
45
school
higher,
pays for the
55.2.
college class that we would take,
And
but
on
we
Wall
only
Street,
but we
the
can only
Nasdaq
take
and
one,
S&P 500
so we
index
can't
are
take
lower
like a
year
full
to go.
load
Crude oil and
over
gold
there,
down as
so
well.
I have to
John
choose
He's getting ready now.
wisely.
Thanks, John. Certainly appreciate that opening market report, a service of your KDHL Agri Boosters. They include Ag Power Enterprises, your John Deere dealer with locations in Owatonna, Hollandale, Belle Plaine, also Osage in Northwood, Iowa. Northland Buildings for quality post-frame construction. Go to the website northlandbuildings.com. Jenny and Brittany are with us. They are from the Minnesota State Academy for the Blind. Next week, they're celebrating 150 years of service here in Minnesota. We're so blessed to have the State Academy for the Blind, the State Academy for the Deaf on the east side of Faribault here, and have been here for a long time, as we just noted. So maybe we should touch on the program. Again, Jennifer Pelletier is with us, music therapist, board certified, it says here. So mind if I touch a little bit on that? I find that interesting.
You betcha.
How
Yeah.
did you decide to go into that for a career?
You know, in my third year of college, I was kind of deciding between art and music, actually. Couldn't decide which way to go. And hadn't heard about music therapy at that time until, again, that third year of college. And so, yeah, I went to the University of Minnesota and got my undergraduate degree in music therapy.
And you've been at MSAB for about a year, you said.
About a year. Yeah, before that I was in Northfield for 10 years working, and yeah, both in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
So you work with the students in music therapy.
Yeah, so at MSAB, my role is kind of a blend between music therapy and education, depending on the students that we have, because it's definitely a diverse group of kids. So for students like Brittany, for sure we're working on the elements of music, more similar to music education. For some of our other students who are multiply challenged, some which may have autism and low vision, or another type of neurological disability, for example. So then our music therapy goals are more of social skills and learning academic and cognitive skills and physical skills like range of motion. And so all of those can happen through music. So that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of what it's all about.
And we were talking earlier before heading the airwaves that, and I think you touched on it, your diverse population, the levels of vision vary quite a bit.
Absolutely. So, and maybe Brittany can speak to that a little bit more too, but definitely we have students with low vision, some who are blind, lots of different ways to learn. I don't know, do you want to...
You said earlier, Brittany, that you see light, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the only thing that I could see. So right now I can't see this microphone that's in front of me. So sometimes I have to get really close to it. But yeah, and other students have fairly good vision, so they wouldn't really need to do much with it. What else? I'm also a Braille reader, so I started learning Braille when I was 3, like I said before we got on the air here. And honestly, it's kind of cool how other visually impaired people can see things, because I never knew, like I said earlier, what visually impaired people are like. So some have subvision, some are totally blind, and I have some friends that are like that in that little mix. And earlier I was saying how a lot of the times for people that are reading print, sometimes they have to read Braille because their eye conditions they would know would get progressively worse, and they would lose the rest of their vision. So in my way of saying it, learn Braille if you have to.
Technology now is so awesome, Brittany. You could buy a cell phone, it'll talk to you all the time.
Mm-hmm. I do have one. I have the iPhone, and it's amazing because with that you can text or call or do anything you want with it, and actually I really enjoy it. With our computers too, you can get the screen reading software. They're different kinds. Some of them are really expensive though, so you kind of have to choose which ones you want to get, but then sometimes you can get them paid for. I got mine through, it's called State Services for the Blind, and what that is they have rehabilitation counselors that help you with like employment or technology needs, and so they helped me get the technology, well, some of it that I would use, but I got my own laptop, so.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
We also have at MSAB, we do have some students from the Academy for the Deaf also, and so there's a lot of students also who use sign language to communicate. So there's lots of different, again, going back to the diversity, a very diverse student body.
I'm going to touch on the program, and then we're going to touch on history. So next week, you've got a special musical program, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've been really talking a lot this fall, but really all year, about our 150th and what that means. I know in our music classes we've been doing a lot of different trivia and really digging into the past as much as we can so that, you know, what we're doing has meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this year we have a grant through the Southeastern Minnesota Arts Council and through Compass to do a program where we're learning about history but using the arts to do that. So we're incorporating music and dance and art and drama to make, hopefully, history come to life. So.
And you have a rich history too.
Mm-hmm.
We really do. And so along with that, we've invited some special guests to come in and join us, and that's been kind of fun. So we've had some artists in residencies. We've had a woman by the name of Chiaki O'Brien come in, and she has been teaching us the art of saori, a Japanese form of weaving, because weaving is a part of our past. Their students decades ago did quite a lot of weaving, both chair cane weaving, and they made hammocks and they made baskets and all sorts of different things.
At the loom and everything?
Yes. So it was kind of fun to sort of reintroduce that here, in 2016, and students loved it, and they created beautiful works of arts that we'll have on display next week. And obviously it's very visual but tactile too, so
Mm-hmm.
it worked really well for both our students who are blind, but also some of our deaf students who were able to participate as
Did you get to
well.
do some weaving, Brittany?
Yes, it was a lot of fun. I liked that whole week of just sitting there and weaving away, and it was actually kind of a relaxing thing because I remember there was one day I was actually really stressed out. I can't remember what it was, and then I remembered, oh my gosh, I get to weave today, and it was almost right away in the morning. I had a class right away, but then I went and I weaved, and I was like, yes, this made my day. So yay, I'm happy.
That's a good thing.
I was really happy, and then by the time it ended, though, I was like, I wanted to come back. I really did. I actually miss weaving till this day. I miss it.
We have to get her a loom.
Yes.
I know.
They're over in Japan. They're the only ones that she had were only in Japan, and they were almost $2,000. So it's nope. I don't want to go all the way over there and get one.
No
but it would
loom
be
for
fun.
you.
It would be fun to bring that back. Sometimes there's these traditions that fall by the wayside, and then you kind of reinvent them and think, oh, wait a minute, why aren't we doing this?
So I see where you commissioned a piece,
Yeah.
a musical piece, right?
Yeah.
A choral
so
piece.
We've got the art piece, and then for the music in this program, we're doing music through the decades. So we're going back to the 1800s and doing some music from 1920. We've got the Charleston, we've got Rock Around the Clock, we've got all this fun music through the decades. And we're going to end with a commissioned piece by Dan Coleman, who is a Northfield composer, and he's written music for youth choirs and for church choirs and for bands and orchestras internationally and of course locally too. So he's written a piece called We Follow That Vision, and it's a really beautiful piece that incorporates our history and what we hope that we stand for. And we're we've invited the Faribault High School concert choir to come and join us sing that. So I think it'll be really a special occasion to, have that hopefully sense of community, to be all together and singing that.
That will be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's open to the public, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When is this?
It'll be next Thursday at 1, and mainly that's for like some of the elementary schools from around the area come, but anyone can attend that. And then it's also next Friday at 10:30 in the morning.
Maybe about an hour each day, or what?
Yeah, maybe a little
Half
bit
an hour
less.
to an hour?
It's hard to know because we're practicing and practicing and practicing, but haven't put it all together.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but I'm thinking it'll be about 45 minutes or so, and incorporating all the students within our school have a part. We've got kids doing some, sound and lights and singing and dancing and all those different pieces. So.
Got some drama in there.
Mm-hmm.
We have different characters being represented. A superintendent of our past, our founder. We've got one of our first music teachers, and so really people throughout the 150 years that these students will be portraying.
So music has always been a part of
Mm-hmm.
MSAB.
It has.
From the
Ever
beginning.
since its inception.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of cool.
And there used to be a full-fledged band, trumpets and trombones, the whole thing. There used to be an orchestra. There used to be, we were talking about before we went on air here, there used to be a radio club. There used to be some really, involved performances, which I think is kind of exciting. In fact, I've come across the programs from the past and put them all in a binder that go back to, I want to say, about 1875. And so it's fun to look through those year after year and see who all was involved and just the really neat things that these students have achieved during, the last 150
Any
years.
famous graduates from MSAB?
Well, we do have, we mentioned it in our program, one of our superintendents, he was a superintendent for I think about 40 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
James Dow was one of the first, or he was of the first graduating class of Carleton College. And so that's kind of a neat connection. In fact, they're celebrating their 150th anniversary at Carleton this year as well.
Well,
So, we also have, and another thing we mentioned in the program, our students created I guess now we might call it a tablecloth.
Mm-hmm.
At that time it was a scarf for Helen Keller, and that was sent to her in her, the time that she was alive, and she sent a thank you to our students, and so we've got that thank you in our museum at our
awesome.
school, and so that's kind of another special historical connection.
In the program, Weaving Our Past into Our Future is November 17th, 1 in the afternoon, November 18th, 10:30 in the morning. Faribault High School Concert Choir will be joining the choir at MSAB. That'll be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hope you guys get this on DVD or something
I think FCTV is going to be
for the
there.
future. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brittany, do you know anything about the past of MSAB? I'm just very curious because, you're 150 years old, so how did it get started? Do you know?
So I will tell you this right now that I am one of the main characters. I am, in fact, Miss Harriet Tucker, and she was the one that founded this school.
Well, I asked the perfect person. then.
Yup.
All right. Harriet, why did you found the school?
Well, in that case, basically, she founded it, I guess, for her nephew. And at that time, they had a commission for, like, the education of the deaf and the blind. And then she decided, we actually need a blind school. And so in 1866, she decided, I'm going to open up the blind school. And then it started out, I can't remember the name right now off the top of my head. But at one point, they had both the deaf and blind school together.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had the library opening up in, like, the early 1930s. And then they had, by 1900, actually, I'm going back a little bit, they had 85 students at that time. And then at that time they started offering like the 12-year courses, so like music and math and whatever. And then later they decided we might as well separate the schools, because I don't know the reason why, but I'm assuming it was too crowded. And then now from like, I gotta remember all of this, but it used to be like the Minnesota Brown Sight Saving School.
Uh-huh.
And then they changed it to like the Minnesota School for the Blind. And then they're like, no, we're gonna change it back to the MSAB. So now it's been this name ever since they changed it, and yeah.
And we're all under the heading, of the Minnesota State Academies. So
Mhm.
I think that's important to note too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
But she founded it for her nephew,
Mhm.
thinking that we need a school for the blind. How did they pick Faribault?
Honestly, I think maybe because I went to other schools for the blind, and honestly, I thought it was going to be like in the Twin Cities, because I actually travel for our athletic department, well, for some athletics, and I'll get to that in a second. But I've been to bigger cities. So last weekend, I traveled to St. Louis for goalball, and what that is, well, I'll get to that in a second. So, I mean, the bigger cities, I feel like it would be more efficient, but I guess maybe at that time they just thought, maybe a smaller town would be suffice, because they thought, well, Harry Tucker was probably thinking, I'll just probably go in and, just have this school built right here. And with the bigger city thing, though, I feel like they should have it up in the Twin Cities. Like, they were deciding that, and then something happened, or something, and I don't know what that was. With that, I guess maybe they just needed, like, a small town atmosphere at that time. So then, back to what I was saying about the sport. So, last weekend, I participated in a sport called goalball. And what that is, it's a sport specifically designed for the visually impaired. And before I came here, I never been in actual sports. I've been in like theater and stuff.
So the ball makes a noise, right?
Yes. So basically, what that is, you are on like a volleyball court, I should say, and it's tactile. And because it's tactile, we have to wear blindfolds. And because they don't, like I said, like some of us might have some vision,
right?
Others don't. So they kind of want to make it equal.
Absolutely.
And so. We wear blindfolds, and we have 3 players on each side of the court. So we have our team, and then we have another team from like another school. So there was only 3 of us girls that went last week, and like a whole bunch of guys as alternates, and like 3 guys, or 6 guys, and then like 3 that could play, and then they would substitute out, so then others could play.
So you do win the whole thing?
No, and the object of the game, I forgot to tell you that, is that we try to block the ball that has bells inside, and if you block it, you throw it to the other side, and you score a goal if like it goes behind you. There's a goal behind you, and if it goes over that, you'll score the goal for the other team, which is not fun at all. And unfortunately, us girls lost our games Friday night. We went and played against the Wisconsin School for the Blind on Friday night, and then Saturday we had to get up early in the morning because it's a bracket thing. So what happens is if you lose, you go into the losers bracket. If you win, you go in the winners bracket and you keep going. So, and then if you lose twice, you're done. So you're out of the competition, and that's what happened to us. And this is my 5th year playing this sport, and I've never been in on a team where we actually won a game. We always lost and got eliminated. But amazingly, the guys' team, they won their first 2 games on Friday, and then they lost Saturday, so they were done later. But it was kind of cool. We got to watch other teams play.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brittany's kind of a busy young lady.
I get a feeling she really likes this goalball too.
Yes.
She's got a goal ball, and you're singing in our choir and in our rock band and doing this
You're
program.
in a rock
and
band? I didn't know
what
that.
all else.
You're
Yeah,
in a
we
rock
have
band?
we have a rock band. But although we have a lot of people in it, so we kind of have to split it up because it's not like a choir where there's like 20 people. So we kind of have to split it up. And it's cool because sometimes a lot of the kids that can't play like actual instruments, we have iPads, and we use them they have like these virtual guitars or piano or whatever, and they would have the kids use those if they can't play an actual instrument.
Got a little bit of everything. So we'll be doing that also next week as part of our program.
Your rock band is going to play at this event?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my, I might have to go just to see that.
Although I will be, like I said, we split, so one point I will actually be dancing, so I won't be in it for one song, and then the other song I will be singing with 2 other people. So.
November 17th, 1 in the afternoon, and November 18th, 10:30 in the morning. The whole community's invited, right?
Yes.
Yes, and if I could add, I would invite anyone who's interested in learning about our school to call the office there, and I think it's great when folks stop by and are interested in a tour. I know we've got some school groups who come through and learn about Braille and just see what we're all about.
It's been here 150 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be
Amazing
willing to
place.
bet there are some people living in this community who've never been on your campus. Same with MSAD. Well, same with Shattuck, as far as that goes.
Yeah,
So it probably would be a good idea to pop on up and learn a little bit more.
we've got amazing students.
How many students you have now?
I know, like I said, by 1900 we had 85, and then it grew for a while, and then it reduced like significantly.
Got
So
it.
now we have like 60,
Yeah, I was going to say about an average of about 60 right now.
55,
Okay.
60,
From
something
all
like
over
that.
Yep, from all over the state of Minnesota.
I know other schools are bigger. They have like 200. I know Indiana had like 200 students or something like that. So it kind of varies by location too, and the school districts and the needs. So I mean,
You mentioned earlier that it might work better if the academy were in the Twin Cities. I thought there was a school in the Twin Cities.
we have other programs. So we have programs run by the National Federation of the Blind. We have an organization up in Minneapolis called Blind Inc. So basically, they have their own little training program as well, and then they have another program up there called Vision Loss Resources, and that is for like SSB, State Services for the Blind, will actually help you with that. So if you were to be continuing after like high school or your transition program or whatever, and you need to work on more skills, then they would have to help you go through that and get the process, because after that your education would be done pretty much from the district. And so those are like the 2 main ones up there, and then they basically do the same thing, but it's more intense and it's their own way of doing things.
All right. Thanks, Brittany. I got to boogie out of here. Thanks, Jennifer. It was nice meeting you, too.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
It
thank
was
you.
awesome. Again, that program's next week. Make sure you attend, folks.